Hello everyone, hope you are doing well. In this video, I will explain about most important interview question, how to handle exceptions in Spring Boot, or we can also call multiple ways, Spring Boot exception handling, or global exception handling, or custom exception handling. In this video, I will show Spring Boot exception handling best practices. In this video, technologies used Spring Boot in Spring Boot version 3.3.2 used. It is not a scratch video, it is continuation video of exception handling playlist. This playlist link I will provide in description of this video. Here, if any exception is raised in Spring Boot application, we will get by default this format like timestamp, status, error path. So, but I don't want this format. I want this format message, error status, and timestamp. So, I will try to achieve this format message, error status, and timestamp. So, for that, I will do some code changes. So, let's get started. So we are all are now like in core Java how to create exceptions in Java, how to create exceptions. So here our exception class, a class when you add exception, suppose it is a student not found exception. After that I added exception, extends either runtime exception or exception. See, I will explain here how to create exception in core Java. How to create custom exception in core Java. Core Java. So like public public class suppose student not found exception, student not found exception extends either we need to use exception or runtime exception, right? After that we need to add constructor here, constructor we need to add constructors. How many constructors we want? Those many with different parameters. Coming to our code, so we are using setter getters, all our constructor required are constructor. Here, public class student not found exception, where extended runtime exception. We can also extend exception as well. So here I am doing some changes. Here I am using all our constructor. So I am removing these as well. All our constructor, student not found exception with one parameter constructor, one message, control as. See here, expand. See, this is the setter, getter, student not found exception. It is expecting one parameter. So our exception class is ready. Then go to controller class, do some changes. Here if less than, see this is the ID parameter, right? We are passing ID. If less than or if negative number, then we are saying return this not found. Now I will run this and I will show what will happen right now. After that, I will do some code changes to achieve our format. Spring Boot app. Now Spring Boot application is running. Once up and running, then I can hit this endpoint in Postman. Here, now this is the student app, our project collection. Collection is nothing but multiple like group of methods in student controller. These are the methods are there. So suppose I'm passing negative number here. Suppose I'm passing -100. So I'm sending. See, we are getting student not found. See, student controller, it is printing student not found, right? So instead of using response entity, I will use now our custom code, student not found exception. So I am commenting this throw new student not found exception. Copy this message. Control C, Control V, semicolon. So right, see if ID value is negative number less than 0, that means negative number we are saying throw student not found exception. Now let's see, I will run what kind of response we will get if student not found exception is thrown. If student not found exception is thrown, which kind of response we will get in Postman. Spring Boot application is up and running now. See here in student controller, we are throw new student not found exception, student not found, right? So it the endpoint send. See here now we are getting, so in console here scroll down in console, we are getting student not found exception, student not found. In Postman, we are getting timestamp, status, error, and path. See, like this format. So I am saying no, we don't want this format. We want this format, and this is failed, right? We are getting exception, right? So we are saying like we don't want this format. We want custom exception format. So I want this format. To achieve this, we need to add another class like student rest controller advice. We need to add one advice. So here I will show some sample code. Suppose public public student student rest controller advice. Suppose like this one sample class we need to annotate with at at rest controller advanced yet rest controller advanced. We need to add one method public suppose response entity as of now I'm asking question mark means any type it is allowed. So method name student not found here I'm annotating with yet exception handler. We need to pass here value equal to student not found exception dot class response status. We need to pass here response status. So http status dot not found. Like this we need to write. So here how to handle exceptions in Spring Boot. For this interview question, answer is first we need to create exception class. After that we need to extend a runtime exception. Then we need to create controller or REST controller hardware. At class level, we need to annotate REST controller hardware. After that, we need to create one method for method. We need to create method. At method level, we need to annotate exception handler. We need to pass exception class here. Student not found. This is the student not found exception. We need to pass here. After that, response starter. If this exception is raised, which kind of response we are expecting? So I am saying so student not found, like not found status I am expecting. This is the some sample code for Spring Boot exception handling. First, we need to create exception class. After that, extends either runtime exception or exception. After that, we need to create another class like REST controller hardware. We need to annotate at class level REST controller hardware. At method level, we need to annotate with at exception handler. At exception handler, we need to pass value. Value is a exception class. Here, student not one exception, right? We are passing student not one exception dot class. After that, which kind of response we are expecting, then we need to pass this. After that, some logic to we need to add some logic to return some structure, like we need to add some logic to return this format. So I will show that. So here now I am creating student REST controller advice. So right click new. So we take the class package I'm mentioning advice class I'm mentioning here student controller advice finish. Then we need to annotate at REST controller advanced. Here, REST controller advanced. I'm maximizing. After that, we need to add method public response entity. Public response entity. T means type. I will come to this. So student not found. Student not found. Method name I'm giving. Student not found. So it is expecting. We need to add at method level at exception handler. We need to pass this student not found exception class. Student not found exception class here value. We need to pass here value dot class. After that, control shift O for imports. Whenever this student not found exception is there, then we are expecting response status. We are expecting response status. Here we are expecting response status HTTP. Here we are expecting status HTTP as HTTP status dot not found. So Whenever student not found exception raised, this raised, we are expecting response status not found, right? Here we are expecting this format message error status timestamp. For that, we need to create another class. Now I am creating another class in exception package. So I am adding another class, new class, student error response, student error response. Here I'm adding another class, student error response. This format we are expecting this format, right? Message error status timestamp. So I add those three fields here. Private string message. String is a message is a string type. After that, private integer error status. After that, private timestamp. Giving timestamp as a string. Select all control shift F for format. We need to add setter getters for that. Setters getter setter. If you want to, you can add constructor as well, or R constructor as well. No R constructor required, R constructor. If you require, you can add. So I'm not adding those. Here type I'm returning this student error response control shift O. In brackets, we need to mention the student not found exception EX. Whenever raising student not found exception, we go to student controller. This is student not found, right? It is a constructor with one parameter. So here we are setting some data. Whenever exception is raising, we are setting some data like student not found, right? So we need to first create the object for this student error response. So response dot set message is there, right? String it is expecting. So ex dot get message controllers here, because here whenever student not found exception is raised, so we are passing one parameter, right? Parameter, this is value we are passing. So same we are now that value we are storing here. Set message up to we will check it is giving expected or not. Then we can add other two fields, like other two fields are nothing but integer timestamp. Two fields are there, right? So return new return new response entity. Here type is optional. In generics, we can add one place only. After that is response comma http status dot not found. Here http status dot not found semicolon. Control S. Stop the server. Let's run and hit the endpoint. Let's see which kind of error we are getting. It is, see, we are added, right? Controller adway. So this is picking up or not. Spring Boot application is up and running. See, previously we get the timestamp, status error, and path. And status is 500 internal server error. But we are changed to not found 404. Not found means 404. Now I'm hitting the endpoint. See, here we got the student not found as expected. See, as expected only message student not found. Right? If you want to ID value also, then go to controller. Here one space plus ID controllers. Stop the server. Again, right click run as Spring Boot application. Here we are expecting this format message error starter timestamp. So now let's just hit the endpoint. We are giving minus negative value, right? Go to your student controller. We are saying if a negative number is there, then we are saying throw the exception, student not found exception, right? So I'm hitting endpoint. Here message as expected, student not found exception, student not found ID value. Here message student not found ID value, but remaining error status and timestamp getting null. We can also set those values. Go to student controller advanced. Here response there, right? Response dot set error status. It is expecting the integer value. Remember, it is expecting the integer value. Dot value method is there. It is returning int. This is ready. After that, response response dot set timestamp set here spelling wrong, go to timestamp set timestamp time timestamp stamp timestamp, go to here, remove this timestamp. It is expecting string read, add the local date and time. Here add local date and time, control shift O imports. Here let's check local date and time. After that control space now is there, right? Local date and time dot now. After that format is returning string, right? So I add the format datetime formatter dot date time datetime formatter dot I ISO datetime, right? So here to achieve exception handling in Spring Boot, we need one exception class. That exception class must be extends either runtime exception or exception. After that, we need one constructor. So I am creating constructor by using all our constructor. Setters also fine. I am added also setters, but I am not used. You can create one constructor and setters getters as well. So I am added one field. So here on parameter constructor it is. So that one parameter constructor here I am used. Condition is like if id value is negative less than, if id value is negative, then I am saying throw the student not found exception. I am passing the parameter value. Then here student controller advice, this parameter value I am setting to set message. After that set error status. So response status we are expecting not found, right? Same I am giving number I am passing. After that timestamp I am passing. So in controller advanced at class level we need to annotate at dash controller advanced annotation. At method level we need to annotate at exception handler. In value we need to mention which kind of exception it is throwing. So we need to add whenever student null count exception is throwing, then this controller advanced will be called. Whenever student not count exception is raised here, this is student not count exception, right? Whenever this exception is raised, then this student not found controller advanced method is called because of exception handler we are set to student not found. So let's stop the server and run. See, we are getting expected response format or not. See, we are expected this format message error status and timestamp. By default, we are getting the timestamp status error and path. But we are saying, hey, I don't want this format timestamp status error and path. We want this format message error status and timestamp. So let's see, it will be gives as expected. The error status or not. So I am meeting. So I am passing negative number. We are said like where developer code like whenever negative number we are passing to student slash exist method get method. We are saying throw the exception student not found. So in this format message error status timestamp. Now I am hitting the endpoint, send the request. Here we are getting as expected message error status timestamp. See, message error status timestamp. In this video, we have successfully understand most important interrogation how to handle exceptions in Spring Boot or Spring Boot exception handling or global exception handling or custom exception handling best practices. So here to achieve this format, we need mandatory another extra class like this format. In this format, we are expecting like exception, right? So we need this class. I am passing this class as a return type. This is the student error response. This is the return type. So now I will commit my changes into GitHub repository. I will provide GitHub repo link and this exception handling playlist in description. So minimize, click on the project. This is student app. We are working on now student app. Right click properties. Go to location of the workspace. After that, open the our project. Open in CMD. Get started. These files were modified. These files newly added. Then get yeah dot means all files. Get commit -m. So message string boot custom exception handling So why we are calling like custom? This is the default format. We are making our choice format. That's why we are calling it custom exception handling or our choice format we are printing. Git push. So if you want, you can also add some date as a Jira ID. Thank you for watching. For more videos, please subscribe to this YouTube channel.